And we're back to our daily segment of Michelle Obama's terrible, terrible life. Boo effing who. She went on a podcast called Diary of a CEO. It's kind of rings a bell like a founder kind of situation. And once again, wants you to know how awful it is to be married with children.
Michelle Obama just walked into a buzzsaw. And surprise, it's Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David holding the handles. This isn't a debate. It's a no-holds-barred roast. From fairy tale first lady narratives to media-crafted makeovers, they're not pulling punches. They're flipping the script and lighting the stage on fire. If you thought Michelle's image was off limits, think again. This tag team takedown is hitting so hard, even seasoned pundits are ducking for cover. Grab some popcorn, maybe even a helmet, because this one's going off the rails. Let's break it down.
Michelle Obama is slammed for whining about costs in the White House, okay? I don't know if you guys have seen this or not. This is her speaking with, is this the Diaries of a CEO, right? So, Rob, if you can play this clip, this is her talking about how expensive it was to live in the White House.
Megyn Kelly didn't just join the conversation. She stomped in, stilettos sharpened, and ready to slice through the glossy veneer of America's favorite former First Lady. Forget soft-focus lighting and curated Spotify vibes. Megyn came armed with a high-definition memory and zero patience for sugar-coated political cosplay. Her target? The crown jewel of media-crafted royalty, Michelle Obama.
Just many natural reasons why marriage, infertility, trying to have kids makes things difficult. It's like, I try to tell couples, of course it's hard. Just guess what happens when it all works out right? You know what you end up with? Babies. Little people with their own sense of everything. They mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public.
Because when Megyn looks at Michelle's carefully crafted image, she doesn't see a relatable icon. She sees a Disney princess in a power suit, claiming to hate politics while waltzing through Netflix deals and headlining every stage not bolted to the floor. Megyn's eyebrow practically achieves liftoff every time Michelle sighs and pretends she'd rather be folding laundry than managing a multi-million-dollar media empire with global reach and flawless branding.
It's expensive to live in the White House.
Yeah.
As many people don't know. Sure. I mean, much is not covered. You're paying for every food, every bit of food that you eat. You know, you're not paying for housing and the staff in it, but everything, even travel. If you're not traveling with the president, if your kids are coming on a Bright Star, which is the First Lady's plane, we had to pay for their travel to be on the...
Oh, she remembers. Megyn's got a mental Rolodex like a vault, and tucked inside those polished folders is that little line. Michelle saying she was proud of America for the first time. The media may treat that moment like vintage champagne, but to Megyn, it's spoiled faster than a White House salad in July. She watches Michelle strut in designer activism, clinging to her underdog narrative like it's still the South Side, all while raking in 5 figures per pep talk. And Megyn's not buying a single word of it.
You know, what are you thinking when you're giving this message? Like, what are you thinking in your mind? Because let's do data. Rob, can you type in Obama's net worth in 2007? What was Obama in 2007? 1.2 million, 1.3 million. Okay, so their net worth is, let's write this down. This is pre-White House. Their collective net worth was 1.3 million. Can you go to where their net worth was in 2016 when they're done being presidents? Okay, 2016. So their net worth, as expensive as it was, they went from being 1.3 million to 12.2 million. So that's 10xing your net worth in 8 years. And that's not...
The real kicker for Megyn is the constant push-pull of Michelle Obama's public persona, the woman who claims to be a reluctant icon, tragically shackled to fame, while simultaneously building a lifestyle empire that makes Martha Stewart look like a hobbyist. Michelle insists she never wanted the spotlight, yet her glow requires eclipse glasses just to survive the blinding coordination of her press appearances. If she's allergic to fame, she's doing a terrible job breaking out in hives. And then there's the victimhood tour. Megyn practically rolls her eyes into another dimension every time Michelle recounts tales of hardship. Not because hardship isn't real, but because it usually doesn't come with stylists, a best-selling memoir, and a platform so powerful it could make Oprah raise an eyebrow. There's a sharp irony in watching someone lament mistreatment, while simultaneously gracing every magazine cover, from Vogue to Virtue Weekly. To Megyn, the manipulation is clear from miles away. Every emotional anecdote is followed by a brand extension. Every tear-jerker becomes a trailer. Vulnerability isn't raw. It's been staged, lit, and lacquered for mass consumption. This isn't a story, it's a franchise. And for Megyn, the Michelle Obama show looks a lot less like authenticity and a lot more like an Emmy campaign.
Negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure, certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the two daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so bad.
Meanwhile, Patrick Bet-David isn't even pretending to be impressed. Where Megyn wields sarcasm like a scalpel, Patrick comes armed with mental flowchart strategic influence, questioning why no one else sees the machinery behind the Michelle Obama mystique. To him, she's not just a former First Lady. She's a political ringer hiding in plain sight. Patrick sees it all. The podcast launches, the speaking circuits, the perfectly timed documentary drops. Each move executed with the precision of a military campaign. Michelle steps in, makes headlines, tugs heartstrings, and exits stage left with just enough mystery to ignite hashtags. This isn't accidental fame. It's the soft launch of political empire, wrapped in the language of wellness and casual authenticity. He's not buying the "I'm just like you" act either. The only thing Michelle shares with average Americans is breathable oxygen. Patrick practically cackles hearing her wax poetic about humble beginnings from the back seat of a chauffeured SUV en route to a 5-star resort. The South Side origin may be real, but the zip code now screams Monaco, not middle class. And Patrick isn't fooled for a second.
Their net worth today, 2025. What is the net worth today?
It's got to be worth a couple $100 million. No?
It's two numbers. You see 70 million to 250 million dollars. So 70 million to 250 million dollars. If you type in a couple other places, you'll see 100 million. You'll see 70 million. But you'll see a couple ranges. But let's just stick to the 70 million dollars. Pre-presidency, 1.7. So expensive being at the White House. It was so expensive that our net worth went from 1.3 million to 12.2 million 8 years later. What an expensive.
To Patrick, Michelle Obama's greatest performance isn't being First Lady. It's convincing half the country she wants nothing to do with power while quietly redefining what influence even looks like. While America is busy gushing over her wardrobe and workout routines, she's doing political Pilates, stretching her image across culture, education, and entertainment without ever seeming overt. And somehow, the media just nods along like bobbleheads at a car show. Then there's the 2024 theory. Patrick, ever the strategist, lays it out like a heist film. Michelle doesn't need to announce anything. She's already on every shortlist, in every headline, every whisper campaign about the next big thing. By the time she runs, the public won't feel like she's returning. They'll feel like she never left, because she hasn't. She's been quietly steering the cultural ship all along. To Patrick, the branding is masterclass level. Michelle crying on cue, hugging teens, wearing casual sneakers during interviews lit to say, "I'm just like you." She's the only person alive who could read the back of a cereal box and ignite a national conversation about morality. And that's no accident.
Needs an intervention. She needs our help. Okay, and that's not all. She can't make fun of herself. This has been obvious for years. She's incapable of laughing at her own expense, which is an absolutely dreadful quality in a person. Like, I don't think I could hire a person who works for me who doesn't have that.
And let's not ignore the messaging pipeline. Patrick raises both eyebrows when Michelle starts popping up in schools, kid shows, and animated specials about empowerment. This isn't just feel-good entertainment. It's ideological infrastructure. She's planting flags in young minds under the guise of inspiration. It's the political equivalent of hiding spinach in brownies. Where Megyn sees hypocrisy, Patrick sees long game domination. They're coming at Michelle from different angles. Megyn through sharp-edged media critique, Patrick through power mapping analysis. But they're arriving at the same conclusion. Michelle Obama isn't the wholesome role model the packaging suggests. She's a mogul wrapped in a manifesto, and no one's reading the fine print. Neither of them is buying the press bubble. Megyn's already chuckling at the way Michelle is treated like she invented literacy and Christmas. Patrick just points to the double standard. Criticize her and you're a monster. Praise her and you're on the guest list of the Met Gala. The protection program surrounding Michelle doesn't just shield her, It elevates her to untouchable status. Compared to that, the actual Secret Service looks like a group of interns.
Curious. You're a very good communicator. Very. You were very good on stage. One of the best. You know how to rally. You actually do. Barack used to say, if I ever needed to win an election, I put Michelle on stage. I've heard that many times. Who are you inspiring with that message you're giving? Think about another younger African-American girl that's listening to this. Do you think you inspired her to want to be a first lady? What do you think you did? Do you think that motivates another girl that's watching this saying, I want to grow up to be like Michelle Obama, my hero? Oh, let me hear to see what she has to say about being a first lady. I bet she says it was the greatest honor. Oh no, in the back of her mind, she wishes he wouldn't have won because it was so expensive.
What really sets them both off, though, is the way accountability never seems to enter the room. Michelle positions herself above reproach, draped in admiration, shielded by sentimentality. Every move is declared either genius or brave. Every silence is treated as sacred. Meanwhile, any criticism is spun as an attack on decency itself. It's like trying to review a Broadway show and getting sued for hurting the set's feelings. Megyn has zero patience for that. To her, if Michelle wants to play in the arena of ideas, she should expect more than just standing ovations. Public influence demands public scrutiny, not just curated applause and perfectly timed vulnerability. Crying in a memoir doesn't grant immunity from political side eyes. Patrick, meanwhile, is studying the chessboard. He sees Michelle capturing queens, bishops, and pawns, all while smiling like she's just hosting a community bake sale. He knows branding when he sees it, and this brand is built like a tank armored in inspirational quotes. Together, they form a kind of symphony of dissent, Megyn mocking the myth, Patrick dissecting the machine. One targets the emotional narrative, the other the structural strategy. And between them, they're shredding Michelle's public image like it's gift wrap on a nuclear device.
Of course, leads me to Michelle Obama. You're back, and she's given us a whole new realm of comments. Glenn, we saved them just for you because she's still...
I told your staff I only started watching this podcast religiously because of the times I've been on your show and you've talked about it by yourself or with me. So I'm very ready to talk Michelle Obama.
Oh, good. She's still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new spin of complaints here.
No one's denying Michelle Obama's intelligence, grace, or strategic brilliance. But Megyn Kelly and Patrick Bet-David are demanding something the media seems terrified to ask for: real scrutiny. Not because they want her to fail, but because her influence is so massive, so far-reaching, and so unchallenged that not questioning it feels reckless. And just when you think Megyn and Patrick are operating on different planets, one orbiting media warfare, the other locked into entrepreneurial chess, they suddenly land in the same trench, hurling rhetorical grenades at the Michelle Obama fortress. You know something's off when two people who probably can't agree on how to take their coffee both look at the same public figure and say, yeah, that's a little too polished to be real. Let's talk about the curation. Michelle Obama's image isn't just managed, it's vacuum sealed, shrink wrapped, and hand delivered with a bow by Oprah herself. Megyn sees it as a full-scale branding crime scene. It's not just polished, it's suspiciously perfect. This is a woman who can glide from Harvard Law to dance routines with Jimmy Fallon without a single scandal smudging her designer sneakers. To Megyn, that's not relatability, it's retail packaging. Michelle isn't just a role model. She's an inspirational Barbie with a Netflix deal. It's time to read the label.
Yeah, I love Newsom.
Yeah, so there's this story about Michelle Obama starting a podcast. And I kind of want to go through this, Michelle Obama's podcast. And her and her brother, they started a podcast. They look like twins. If you want to, no, I'm actually not being sarcastic.
Yeah, well, if she
Rob, what is this, Rob?
Where's her
This
brother?
is the announcement of the podcast.
Okay, play the clip. Maybe this will help out a little bit with subscribership. Go ahead and play the clip.
Hey, TikTok, it's Michelle Obama, and I'm here with my big brother, Craig.
Hey, everybody.
We're here because we're excited to announce the launch of our new
have so many opinions
podcast
about
called
this.
I
You can't-
Meanwhile, Patrick Bet-David sits in the corner like a political analyst crossed from the Illuminati whistleblower, flipping through imaginary PowerPoint slides and muttering, it's all part of the plan. He doesn't just see branding, he sees a blueprint. To him, Michelle Obama's image isn't about personality. It's about pipeline, a long game strategy on the political chessboard where authenticity is just another pawn. She's not improvising, he says. She's executing a campaign tighter than a Fortune 500 merger. And the more she insists she has no interest in running for office, the more suspicious he becomes. Because nothing says I'm not seeking power like impeccably timed book tours and tear-jerking documentaries that subtly remind the world just how historic, misunderstood, and already presidential she feels. Then comes a beautiful collision, media protection. Here, Megyn and Patrick practically break into harmony like a twisted Disney duet. The press doesn't just admire Michelle. They treat her like a royal endangered species. Megyn's side eye is so sharp, you can almost hear it slicing through headlines. The media, she argues, isn't just biased. They become Michelle's unofficial PR team. Any critique gets sandblasted into misogynoir, and even basic questions are recast as attacks on democracy. To Megyn, it's rich, painfully ironic that the same press who claim to champion accountability suddenly lose their backbone the moment Michelle walks in, radiating signature upper arm confidence.
One, from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got like 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it, and that's still all she's managed to get. Here she is interviewing Dr. Sharon Malone, perhaps better known as former Attorney General Eric Holder's wife. And therein lies the problem, as these two ladies, married to two very famous men, are pissed that they are not the alpha in terms of popularity and recognition in their marriages.
Patrick? Oh. He sees that press bubble and raises the stakes. He argues Michelle isn't just protected because she's popular. She's protected because she's useful. To him, she's a Swiss Army knife of influence, political, cultural, commercial. The media doesn't just shield her out of admiration. They guard her like a long-term investment. She's not merely a former First Lady. She's a Democratic Party's, if all else fails, candidate. Patrick watches her name float through every political what-if conversation like she's the emergency Beyonce button, ready to be pressed when things get dire. And it's all running too smoothly to be a coincidence. Then comes the final punch, the real agenda. This isn't just about role modeling or healthy school lunches. It's about shaping culture without raising alarms. On this, Megyn and Patrick fully align. Michelle's persona is a Trojan horse, wrapped in positivity and tied with a progress color ribbon. She's everywhere yet elusive, political yet not a politician, powerful yet always reluctant. And it's brilliant, diabolically brilliant, in their view. The kicker? They don't hate her. That's the wild part. It's not personal. What they hate is the silence, the fact that no one's allowed to ask real questions. Michelle Obama has reached a level of public immunity where even raising an eyebrow earns you a scarlet letter. Hater, troll, or worse, conservative.
You got roughly 100 million followers. Imagine having 100 million followers and you sold your book, and it was record-breaking a few years ago when she sold her book. I don't know what the number was. How many copies did Michelle Obama's book sell? I don't know what the number is, but I heard it was record-breaking. Okay, 17 million copies was sold worldwide in 2018. That's when they were really, their reputation, 17 million copies. Everybody's like, oh my God, they made so much money. I don't know how much money was made. I think the number was like 36 million. How much did she get paid for it, for the books? I don't know. $65 million was paid.
Because she's supposed to be the star, Glenn. Michelle Obama. This dovetails perfectly with so many other comments she's made about how she is, like, what about me? What about me? What did those 8 years in the White House do to my soul? And why isn't anyone asking? They shouldn't have to be told to ask about how I'm doing. Go ahead.
That's the Michelle dilemma. She can influence elections, shape cultural narratives, sit atop Hollywood's throne, and then turn around and ask, why is everyone being so mean to me? And that's where Megyn and Patrick slam their metaphorical gavels down. If you want the influence, take it. But you don't get to bask in soft lighting and then cry foul when someone dares to question how you're using that spotlight. You can't build a brand on global impact and then retreat into, I'm just telling my story. Every time questions get uncomfortable, inspiration is powerful. But when inspiration turns into immunity, democracy is the one getting played. And that's where the curtain falls, for now. Because if Michelle Obama truly doesn't want power, then why does every move look like a campaign? Why is every appearance a cultural event? Why does every carefully measured silence echo louder than most people's headlines? She says she wants to be left alone, and then drops a Netflix series about being misunderstood. Megyn calls it out with a smirk and a scalpel. Patrick maps it like a general preparing for war. Together, they're peeling back the curtain on a figure so mythologized that even raising a critical eyebrow feels like blasphemy. They're not hating. They're just refusing to applaud when illusion takes center stage. So Michelle can keep smiling, inspiring, and softly shaping the future through a mix of charisma and curation. But somewhere, Megyn's eyebrow is arched and Patrick's drawing his diagrams, both ensuring we never mistake perfectly lit branding for the unfiltered truth again.